to the next episode of our Empowered by UMortgage podcast. I am joined by a very special guest today. Amanda Aragon is the business development specialist for CIC West. She is one of our biggest supporters in the credit space and is also a total powerhouse and badass in the mortgage industry. She does a ton to really just help and support all of us. So I thought it would be really fun to welcome her to the podcast today and get to know a little bit more about Amanda. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's always fun. And I love just bringing women of all walks of life from the mortgage industry, whether inside of UMortgage or outside, because we absolutely, none of us can do it without your help and support. It absolutely takes a village. It takes a team. And you have always been one of the best. And we really appreciate your contributions. Really, truly.
Thank you.
Absolutely. One of the things that you do so often that I just noticed just with your social media, you're really active on social media, is you're always like promoting opportunity for other people in the industry. Like, tell us about that.
You know, I was not a big social media fan, and probably until I started watching like Anthony Casa and Nicole and Corey, and Nicole would do all those posts where she's like, just got to get on and do it. And I'm like, do I though? I really do not want to do that. So for me, I had to find something I was comfortable talking about. Yeah. And it's education. I mean, after doing this, I think for so long, the questions that come up, are so valid, and you can't know all of the things. And so, sometimes we'll repeat, like right now, there's a lot of streamlined stuff going on. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of questions about that. So we kind of circle through content, but we're really big on just educating everyone and giving mortgage brokers everywhere, whether they're using CIC or not, just a fair shot.
Totally. Well, just serving out there, like going out there, delivering a message that you know is important and offering to give without any expectation of receiving anything, but knowing that you're building relationships and supporting people along the way. And that just always comes back to you in droves.
So true.
Well, we really appreciate it. It's so funny. I have been doing social media for a long time, and everybody always just thinks that, you're just something that you're naturally good at. And you're just not, it's like, no, that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Right.
Most people, like, I know I didn't grow up with social media. You didn't grow up with social media. This isn't something that we're comfortable doing. But until you put yourself out there and you take a risk and you start doing things that you're maybe a little bit uncomfortable with, that is the absolute only way to get comfortable, is to try and fail, try and practice, keep practicing, keep trying. And then all of a sudden you're providing value and people are noticing. And just like you said, you're like, hey, Nicole's out there doing this great thing. That's encouraging me to get outside of my comfort zone and do it.
And I think it's, I really enjoy the social media where I get to see like a little bit more intimate view of that person. And, sometimes we post blooper reels, and that is like a lot more accurate of how it's going. And I have a team of the younger generation who is lovely, who is like, you can't stand there. No, you can't put your hand up. No, you can't. Did you put makeup on today? And I'm like, no, I got here like 6:45. I don't even know what day it is at this point. So did I put makeup on? No. And in fact, there's a bag right behind here, literally full of makeup that the girl who does our billing, her name is Tabby. She's lovely. She's beautiful. And she used to be a makeup artist. And
I love that.
Ran in and applied. And that's
you have your own glam squad, Amanda. Like, that's not fair. I love it.
Because if you saw me in regular life, like if we ran into each other in the grocery store, you would be like, you seem familiar. I have no idea who you are.
I do not believe it for 1 second. I love it. But people want to see your authentically you. And that is so true. We have done at UMortgage, we do a lot of coaching with Renee Rodriguez, who I respect so deeply. He's a wonderful person, a great friend, and an amazing coach and mentor. One of the key takeaways that he talks about when we're doing Amplify training is that your words are congruent with your actions. So if you get up on a stage and you're like nervous and shaking and you're like, I'm so excited to be here, I'm so pumped and jazzed and thrilled, and you're shaking and nervous, like that is absolutely going to come across as inauthentic. People are not going to believe anything else that comes out of your mouth after that. Conversely, if you get up on that same stage with that same energy and say, hey, I am terrified to be here. Public speaking is not my forte. I am not comfortable with this at all, but I have some really important information to share with you today. So please bear with me while I do my best to get my message out. And bam, it's like all of a sudden, as that same message and action is received totally differently.
Yes.
And I think that's huge.
And I think people can relate. I mean, we all have a fear of something, and we're like in this day and age, I'm not sure how everyone else is raising their kids, but we're trying to, you can do hard things. And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing hard things. I don't want to do hard things. Right. So it's a good lesson to have to say it to your children and then turn around and then go do something like you don't want to go do.
Totally. It's so true. And that is every single day, because that's like the pursuit, it's like the journey, not necessarily the destination. And I look back on anything and everything hard that I've ever done I'm here sitting here talking to you. So obviously I lived through it somehow. Right. And those are like the pivotal, poignant moments in my life that I look back on and go, damn, that made me really resilient, or really tough, or really humbled me, or really gave me courage or confidence to go do that next thing. So I think that I've learned in my 40s, right, that like I'm not as scared of doing hard things, because I know that it's going to make me better, and I really do want to get better.
Yeah. It's just like a level of uncomfort, and that can be really hard to sit with. And, that level and that thing is different for everyone. But I think, it's kind of like the elephant in the room. I just I don't have room for elephants. If they were some type of smaller, like a quail, like a baby quail, perhaps, I think that would be like, I would have room for lots of baby quails like running around my office. But elephants, I'm like, oh, there's no room for this. I might as well just walk in and be like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I don't really want to do this, or I'm probably gonna stumble and trip, but we're gonna get through it together. And people will nod at you and be like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. It might not be pretty, but we're gonna get there together, and I'm not giving up, you're not giving up. And totally, that happens all the time. And I don't know about other industries, because I've been in the mortgage industry for 100 years, but that is the second I get comfortable with anything, the goalpost moves, the target moves, something changes. And so if there's anything that we have to get comfortable with in this crazy industry, it's change is going to happen every day. You're always going to get hit with something that you weren't expecting. You're going to do, a podcast episode, and you're going to get the blue screen of death when you're supposed to be talking to Amanda Aragon, and your computer's going to make a funky sound that it's never made before. It's going to take you 6 minutes to get online with her.
And she's going to wait patiently, because this has probably happened to her too.
So. That is so true. That is so true. How long have you been in the business, and how did you find yourself here?
I would imagine much like everyone else. I don't really know how I ended up here. I come from a long line of salespeople, and but how I got into selling credit reports, I think I started as the receptionist at some point at this the company that's attached to me. We're just going to say it that way. And and then I kind of moved my way through every department. I did collections for them. They do business to business credit. So I do the business development for them as well. And it's called NACM, the National Association of Credit Management. And then I have kind of worked my way all the way through. And then sales is two things for me. You know, you get to be like an account manager. In this case, it's kind of a lot of hats to your clients who become friends. You get to do a lot of education and training and keep up with the industry and that stuff I like. And then, you know, there's a competitive edge to it that I enjoy because I'm just one of those people. And I wouldn't say even competitive against other companies, right? Like for me, it's more of why will a company not just talk to me on the phone and tell me why they don't want to use me? I want to know. You're not listening.
What drives you to that? Like, where is it, like to your growth, or is it like what's the driver? Because the common theme that I get when I talk with successful professionals is they've got this thing inside that nobody trained them to do, nobody instilled in them. It's like either there or it's not there. And every high achiever, every top producer has that thing. And I look for that when I'm hiring people, right? It's like, I can train anyone to do a mortgage. I can train anybody to do their sales activities. I can show you how to read program guidelines. I cannot give you work ethic. I cannot give you drive. I cannot give you resourcefulness. I can encourage all of those habits in people, and I certainly do. But you either have it or you don't in many cases, it seems like.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I think part of it is, I don't wonder if it's people had to struggle. You know, you always see like that meme. I just said meme that is
meme, who knows?
Whatever. That's, you know, like you just don't understand it if it was like handed to you. And, you know, things like that. I think if you know, for me, it's not money. It's stability. And I think, the people that I see that have the drive have usually had more difficult situations and are looking for that stability, which a lot of times comes with money, unfortunately. And so that hustle is like there. I'm sure like having parents and grandparents that were salespeople, I'm sure part of it is that. And then I think the other piece for me is like, I have a team. And, you know, as salespeople, we don't talk about it enough. If you have a team that is as incredible as mine is, you have to show up every day. You cannot let these people down. They are looking to you to do your part of the job, and then they will perform their part of the job. And for me,
relying on you.
Yes. And vice versa. And so like, I'm not going to be the weak link. I'm not going to show up like that. I'm going to overproduce, and then you guys try to match. But we have been together. I mean, so this is 27 years for me. I'm one of the shortest termed employees at my office.
No way.
Yeah. And
okay, we are getting into that because that is awesome. That means that you guys are doing a lot of right things from a culture perspective that bonds people to your organization. And that is hard to do. And that's really amazing. That's awesome.
Thank you. But it didn't have to do with me, but they are so good.
But you're around it every day, so you experience it.
Yes. But I think, you know, just for me, it was like, I don't want to be the one to let them down. And I feel really honored because a lot of people, I think, could have taken this sales position. And so in turn, when I am fearful to do something, I often think like, I'm going to have to go back to my girls and base my team and tell them I didn't do it. And I'm like, nope, not going to do that.
That is so true. My personal production team, Angela and Tara, have both been with me for years and years. And I mean, we're at the point now where we're just in each other's heads. Like we work together so well. But we have that relationship. We have built up that much trust with each other. And, if they need to tell me, hey, I need you to step it up in this department, or I need to have this conversation with you. Like, we trust each other so much because we've built up, that relationship over so many years that I want them to come to me with that feedback, because I can only get better if they're willing to be really honest about that. And it's a two-way street. But I mean, gosh, the last year and a half, 2 years in the mortgage industry has been challenging. And every single day, whether I wanted to get up and kick butt that day or not, I did. And I never stopped. I never took my foot off the gas pedal, because I owe it to them to perform, to produce, to make sure that I am like protecting their livelihoods. And I almost take that more seriously than I do my own, in a sense. And because we all feel that way and have that same attitude and mentality, like, no one's given up on anyone. And even if there are hard days or hard weeks or months or years, just keep trying, because I owe it to them. Like, they owe it to me. And it's a pretty amazing feeling when you've got, a team around you that you've built up that much trust with, because you can have the hard conversations, but you can really grow. And, I know that they've got my back, and I've got theirs, but it takes time to do that.
Yes, it does. It does. And it's, and then I think once you have it, right, we have had some team members retire or had to leave, like move. And it's such a big loss when they go. That's hard too, right? Because you become such this team. And then trying to like replace them and kind of move forward can be difficult and a struggle, just because you're like, I don't know, this person knew me so well and they did it this way, and you're doing it whatever way that is. And that doesn't right? Then you kind of have to be like, oh, I'm the problem. You can do it anyway.
It is hard. And I really think it's so interesting. We were doing our level up sales coaching this week. So, which is one thing I love about UMortgage. We have, an internal coaching program, like the loan officers love it. Everybody that's participating in level up, like, we track everything, and it's very much like, these are our top producers. There's growth month over month. And that was one of the conversations that we were having in level up actually this week, is talking about building our team, building community. And, one thing that I struggled with when I first, got into the industry and was first like hiring people onto my team, is I would look at someone and I would almost hire like another me.
Yeah.
Which didn't work, because I don't need more of me. What I need is somebody that can supplement and backfill the things that I'm not great at, so that together we have got this cohesive, well-rounded team. And that I think that was really well received by, the rest of the coaching students, was like looking at adding to your team in a very different way. And if Tara could literally sit in a dark office and knock out pre-approvals for 12 hours a day, she would be so friggin' happy. If I'm trying to keep me in that environment, I would be in an insane asylum within 24 hours. Right. And yet the two of us together are this unbeatable team, because we're so different. And instead of trying to like me supplement my weaknesses and her supplement hers, it's like we're relying on each other's strengths, and together, and then add Angela into the mix, and it's just, it's over. We're good.
And it makes it, it makes you unstoppable. It makes you unbeatable. And I think, when you have that kind of a power, like a superpower behind you, it really is like, okay, I can do this. I can do, anything. And I think that is.
I totally think that, like, when you identify your superpower and lean into that, like, I don't need to be a Jane of all trades. Like, I need to know what I can do better than anyone on this planet, and you need to know what you can do better than anyone on this planet. Focus on that and build community and relationships around that, and then you're happier too. I mean, to be honest.
Yes, I mean, totally. And it's funny because for me, right? Like I have kids, I have a daughter going to school, and it's like,
How old's your daughter?
She's 10 and a half. So she started
goodness.
5th grade. And, I always tell her, you can't be good at everything, but I too do the same thing. Like, I got to do all the things. I want to be good at everything. And it's, I find myself as I'm getting older, taking the advice that I'm giving to my children. So I know I'm getting older. I also have a stepson and he's 21. But he's like a grown up, an adult, and doesn't need anything. But all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, like when you have to listen to your mom self, it's like, oh, this is getting sad.
The older I get, the smarter I think my mom is. That is seriously for sure. Like, yeah, that's Socks really knows what she's talking about.
So true.
How do you balance it all? Like, how do you lead a team? As a woman, you've got a family, you've got all these responsibilities. We wear a lot of hats. And one thing that I talk to just women in general about all the time is just balancing it all, finding time to take care of you. And I don't even know if there is such thing as balance, but how do you get it all done?
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, the truth is I suffer from really bad anxiety, and I focus it in the form of like being a workaholic. So my family will tell you, I usually leave my office, I go home, I make dinner, and then I open up my laptop and I start working again. Which is like one of those things, right? I'm really trying to work on for myself. I think for a long time it was like the worst and best coping mechanism that's ever existed. But it's hard. It is. It's like, I don't know. And I think just because like the days get long and you're just, the emails come and you kind of are like, it's just one more thing. Like somebody just needs their account unlocked. This will just take me 2 minutes. And then all of a sudden it's like 10 o'clock at night. So I would say I don't have one, and you should not follow me. Do not do that at all. It's a bad choice.
But I think that's also like, that's what also makes you great. And then it's just like, I've struggled with that. Like, how do I then find time to make sure that I know what is like really making me thrive and grow, right? And I know that everything that I'm doing professionally is also leading to personal development and vice versa. Right. But making sure that I'm really paying attention to like my level of, happiness and fulfillment in like, are the things that I'm doing within the space that I'm in, are they fulfilling? And that's part of, the Empowered by You mortgage. And part of why we're doing this is I love talking to people and bonding with people and building these relationships and building the community within our ranks and also externally, because I think that that's so important and something that we don't spend enough time just in general doing. And so I can kind of take two things that are really important to me, sort of marry them together, and then feel really good about taking care of, I guess, more pieces of myself, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. And I think, for everyone, that balance is going to be different, right? If your fulfillment, for stay-at-home moms, I love that. I shouldn't even say moms, parents.
Yeah, totally.
Whatever that is. It is not for me. I am not the type of person to stay at home, and I love my child, but we have a better relationship when we are not together all day.
Yeah.
And like those people who, work with their spouses, I'm like, if I call my husband and it's like lunch, he thinks somebody has died, right? Like, why are you calling me? Is somebody going to the hospital? I was just trying to say hi or something. Yeah. But so I think for us, we're kind of a family that is fulfilled differently. And luckily we happen to be together. And there's a lot of people who it's, the mountains, the outdoors, or nature, or travel, education, whatever it is. And I think it is so important for you to find that.
Yeah.
And it's, I can take full accountability in saying, I have not done it for myself. I need to work harder at it. I need to be better at it, especially because I want to be that, I want to be the
like
person.
Example.
Yeah. Even if it's not for my own daughter, that's like, you don't have to work yourself to death. But there's a part of me that like loves that. I love that. So,
and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's really common. And I think that that's a lot of the highly successful women that I talk to have that in common. And I just think that that's okay too. Like so many people that I talk with are like, balance. There is no such thing as balance. Like sometimes you're like way overboard in your professional life. Sometimes you're way overboard with something that you're going through with your family. Sometimes you have a health crisis and then that takes your attention. Like there is no such thing as balance. Throw that out the window. Get comfortable with being able to handle everything that life comes at you and go through it, move through it as successfully as you can. But like throw the balance out the window. And I can totally relate to that because it's something that we all go through. And I think that there's maybe even too much of an emphasis on trying to have everything be pristine and serene all the time. Like your attention is going to go to where your attention needs to go. And that's what's great is being able to, kind of pivot.
It is, and I think it very much is just, what kind of person you are. And, as you get older, it becomes, I think in our earlier lives, you can be real judgmental and, things are
worried about other people and all. And, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Black and white. And, and now, in my 40s, it's like, oh, so everything's a gray area. I see. Like, I get why this, you can just understand things so much better. And it's not just so black and white. So if this is like what works for them and this is what works for you and this is what works for me and this is what you kind of just sit back and like, do your own thing. If you're happy and you're not hurting anyone, what do I care? I probably didn't notice. I was probably here working. So
that's the bottom line truth is that, we've talked about this on the podcast before that people don't think about you nearly as much as you think they do. So like give yourself a break. You. I've told this story before. Like I started doing my Kahren in the car videos because I was so nervous about doing videos and having people hear me and having people like think, make fun of me or any kind of way. So I felt comfortable being in this enclosed environment where I felt like I could be natural and be authentic. And that is literally how it started, was because I was so worried about what other people might think or might say. But then I started practicing and I did it more and more. And now I run into people in the grocery store and they're like, Kahren in the car. It's just.
You're like, yes, it's me.
That's me. And maybe it's just because I spend a lot of time in my car. I don't really know, but it's what works. And at the end of the day, there hasn't been anything such thing as balance. And that just kind of is what it is. Well, I love and appreciate everything that you do to support us and everything that you do to support the mortgage industry as a whole. Like you really are always trying to bring people together and build relationships and communities. And as you know, that's what we're all about here. We're doing an EmpowHEred retreat with the women of UMortgage in Arizona in November. We're working really hard on it. And it's, again, like along those lines is bringing us together, like get off of the computer and off of the social media and one-on-one in person, have a little fun, get a little sunshine and a little R&R. It's probably going to be pouring down rain in Portland in November. So it'll be nice for me to get to Arizona, but it's just, it's so important. It's our core value. And I appreciate everything that you do for all of us at UMortgage and the mortgage industry in a whole.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for also joining us today. That was super fun. I cannot wait to catch up with you. I don't know if it's going to be at Infuse or if it's going to be in Arizona or in Philly one of these days, but we got to get something on the calendar, sister.
I know we do. that is probably my least favorite part, right? Is like the jumping around to conferences. And I want to say, can we schedule them more like evenly throughout the year instead of like stockpiling them at the same time?
In places like Arizona in the winter.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I'm just basically a state or two. I mean, if I could do geography, state or two over. So yeah,
Easy
absolutely.
peasy. Oh,
Well,
I love it.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for helping us and everything that you do. Have an awesome rest of your day. Don't worry about the balance. We'll get it all figured out. Talk to you soon, Amanda. Take care.
Take care.